The ego is the mind, so you can never have an ego death. You can only learn or transcend the limitations of your own mind. Let me walk this down for you real quick. So when you're born, you have access to your root chakra and your root chakra only, because this has to do with your right to exist. So the question that the root chakra asks is, are your physical, emotional, mental, and financial needs met? So if you think about a baby is always like, change me, change me, change me, feed me, feed me, feed me. Everything is about them. And it's because they're at a low state of consciousness where they're only trying to survive. It's almost like having a finger in your face and focusing on the tip. Well, you can't really see what's behind you until you move the finger out of your face. The next chakra is developed when they start to notice people and things around them. In them terrible twos where it's mama, dada, nana. This is when they gain awareness of the sacral chakra. The sacral is responsible for curiosity and creativity, but it's also responsible for your ability to build vulnerable relationships. So the question that the sacral asks is, am I emotionally safe? This is also where that sweet tooth develops. So if you think about how we connect to other people, it's through emotional experiences. It's through emotional energy. Every relationship that we have is one based off of an emotional connection. Either you like them or you didn't like them. And you only know whether you like or don't like someone by your emotional energy, the emotions that you're experiencing while you're with them. But that also opens you up for the possibility of getting hurt by those people, because in order to love, you also have to experience pain. So what starts to happen next is that you realize that you might need to protect yourself from certain emotional experiences. And this is where your ego starts to develop in your sacral chakra, but is actually housed in the solar plexus. Because the solar plexus is the seat of your intellect, it's your mental body. But it also has to do with those lower emotions, anger, shame, guilt, apathy. It's the most important chakra, but the most easily misaligned. But not only that, it has to deal with self-confidence, being able to direct your will. So if you ever felt powerless or you were emotionally abused by your parents, you were going to have a misalignment in this chakra. Because it is the chakra that you need to transcend your mental body, the result of your conditioning, in order for you to reach a state of empathy, which is you operating out of your higher senses. So I say all the time, most people never get past their third chakra, which is the solar plexus. And what I mean is most people never get past their mind. They have self-imposed limitations that they cannot transcend, which is keeping them from their abundance. Or they're power hungry, full of hatred, full of greed, which is often a result of feeling anger or hatred or shame or guilt. So in order to transcend this solar plexus chakra, you have to learn how to make conscious decisions. You have to learn how to manage your mind, your thoughts, but you also need to know how to manage your emotions or regulate your emotions. And once you can get past the barrier that is your conscious mind, you start to realize that everything happens for a reason. And a lot of people are just operating in this unconscious state where they're just following the programming of their conditioning, and not everything is about you. Well, the moment that you start feeling empathy, you gain awareness of your heart space, which is about compassion and forgiveness and understanding. Now you can actually deal with the grief and the heartbreak and the heartache that came from all of those lower experiences. So the ego, like I said, is meant to help you to survive this reality. So it's noting everything from your experiences to keep you safe. But when you realize that everything is not about you, empathy steps in. And there's a new way for you to keep yourself safe. You need to communicate your needs. You need to speak your truth. You need to set healthy boundaries. You need to trust your intuition, make conscious decisions, doing what you should do versus what you want to do. You need to have a healthy sense of detachment with everything, because everything is best enjoyed with moderation, but also realizing that every experience that you have is temporary, so there's no need to hold on to things. But that only happens after you make the choice, and the choice is service to self or service to others. Service to self means that you are choosing to stay locked into survival mode, locked into those lower chakras where you only have to worry about yourself. You are self-focused and self-serving. Masculine energy is the master of this. If you look at the alpha male, what do? They intellectualize everything. They use logic and analytics. They use structure and form and discipline. That is your lower self. And oftentimes they end up being very power hungry, greedy. They are the masters of the ego, the mind. Whereas feminine energy is the master of empathy. She sees the bigger picture. She's looking outside of herself. She has compassion, forgiveness, and understanding for other people. Empathy is a skill that is developed from you getting in tune or in flow with your soul. That is why men consider women to be ruled by their emotional world. It's not that we're ruled by it, it's that is what we're the masters of. Because that is the insight, that is the intuition. Your emotions are meant to guide you in this reality. They're telling you, I like this or I don't like this, so you can figure out how to move and how to make choices. If you like something, you move towards it. If you don't like something, you set a boundary and you move away from it. And every time it shows up, you say no. Both of these energies are necessary and correct. One cannot exist without the other. So you cannot kill the ego. It does not die. You just surrender it and realize that you have no control. You transcend it and realize that there's another way to protect yourself. There's another way to survive. And you master it so you're not moving through life unconsciously, hurting the people around you, using the same conditions that hurt you. I hope this helps somebody. Happy healing, friends.